how to work with files. Basically, this scenario is very important for us. Your test data can be stored in files, and from files to your Java program, how can you read? To read the data, you need this file handling concept. Or you have data, you want to write it to files. How can you write to the files? These are the two scenarios very important for us. So if you observe this diagram, and your data is in the any file format, txt file, excel, doc, or properties file, anything. And from this file to you have to supply to your Java program. How can you supply it? That is called reading or inputting data from file to program, we call that. So from file you are reading to the program. From file you are inputting the data to the program. That's why we call reading process one scenario. Suppose you have data in your program. That data you need to write it to the files. How can you write to the files? That's another scenario. And also from this another file, how to write a data from one file to another file. So this is the different scenarios you can drag from this file handling. So this all file handling classes are available in java.io package. Java.io package. So first you are inputting from file. That's why we are going to use file input stream class. File input stream class, because data will stream in the packets wise in the network bandwidth, right? Data will stream in the packets, but two types of data will stream. One is a byte based format, another one is character based format. These are the two formats data will stream in the internally in the network. So for that we are using a file input stream. So this file input stream will be used to read the byte based data from this file. And buffered input stream. So buffering means, I hope you have seen buffering in the video buffering, and if the net is not fast and streaming is slow, and what will happen, it will first buffer, then it will continue streaming will happen. That's what buffering means. And buffering means all the data will store in one temporary area. From there, a continuous streaming will happen. That is called buffering. So to do a fast reading, we are going to use a buffered input stream, which is going to be read byte data. These two are byte data. If you want to read, you can use file input stream or buffered input stream. So what is the difference between file input stream and buffered input stream? File input stream, one by one byte it will read. Buffered input stream, a large chunk of data read at a time. That's the difference between here and here. So large data, if you want to read, always go for buffered input stream. But buffered input stream alone you cannot use. First you have to use a file input stream, and file input stream object reference you have to pass to the buffered input stream. So these are classes, both are classes. Next we have a reader abstract class. So abstract class means you know already, and it has some defined and undefined methods here. And file reader, so another class for reading the data from file to program. Buffer reader is another one, as I mentioned. It improves the speed, and it large data it reads at a time. So file reader will be used to read a character based data, single character it will read at a time, one by one. But buffer reader is not like that. A large chunk of characters at a time it will read. So that's the difference between file reader and buffer reader. And file class is another famous class. So you want to represent your file, and you can use file class. And file class provides a lot of ready-made methods that we can use to create a files, to delete files, to find whether a file exists in a particular directory or not. All these methods are ready-made here in the file class. So this is the file reading process. For reading or inputting from file to program, we're going to use a few methods. One is read method. All these methods classes are having a read method. So you can read either byte or character based data with the read method. Either you can read byte or character based data using read method. So there is a read line method. If you use a buffer reader, you have to use a read line method. It reads the entire line of data. That's a read line method purpose. So this is the reading process. So what is the reading process? Your data can be either in the txt file or doc file or excel file, properties file, anything, anywhere your data is there. That data, how you can supply to your Java code, your Java program, how you can read that data and you can use that data in your Java program. File can be anywhere, in your local system anywhere, or in your project anywhere, in any package, it doesn't matter. From that file you have to read data to your program. How can you read? If you want to read, you have to use, these are the classes: file input stream class and buffered input stream class. And reader class object is there, reader class abstract class, file reader class, buffer reader class, file class we are using. So these first two will read the byte based data, and file input stream will read byte by byte. A buffered input stream will read large chunk of bytes, and file reader will read character by character, and buffer reader will read a large chunk of characters at a time. That's the difference between file input stream and file reader. So for reading process, we are using a read method. It will read either a byte or character. You can use any one. And a read line method reads entire line of data. So that's the reading process. Okay. Any questions here before going for the writing process?
No, sir. Very clear.
No, sir.
Okay. Now,
రమేష్ గారు
yeah.
ఇక్కడ అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాస్ అంటున్నారు కదా, అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ క్లాస్ అనే దానికి అది మెథడ్ లోపల కనిపించకుండా ఉండడానికి మాత్రమే తీసుకుంటారు కదా, రీడర్ ని ఎట్లా చేస్తారు దీంట్లో?
Method లోపల ఏంటి మేడం? Class you can create abstract class, already ready-made abstract class. A class below, they declared these methods and implemented all these classes. Going to be a parent for all these classes. This read line method, many other methods implemented in these classes. However, you want this read method in the file input stream, they will tell, okay, byte-based data you read. And if you go to file reader, you read character-based data. That's how the implementation changed from class to class. And this read method is here in the reader abstract class as an abstract method. Class inside abstract method will be there. Method inside abstract class won't be there.
ఓకే.
Class inside you have abstract method, read method, and read method. So however you want all these classes, they implemented these methods in these classes. That's abstract class, how we can implement. Okay. Now the second process is, I have a data in my program. How can we write to the files? Or I have data in my file. From this file to another file, how can I write it? So this is the process. So for writing, or that means you are outputting data from your program to files, or you are writing data from one file to another file. How can you write the data to the file? And for that, so again we have two sets of classes. File output stream. You are outputting the data to the file. That's why you're using file output stream class. Buffered output stream class. It will write very quickly the data with the buffered output stream. File output stream will write only 1 by 1 byte it will write, but buffered output stream is not like that. Large chunk of bytes it will write at a time. That's a buffering concept. And a writer abstract class are available here also, and a file writer class, buffer writer class. File writer class will write the character data. One character will write at a time. A buffer writer will write a large chunk of characters at a time. With a string, entire line it will write. That's the these 4 classes are used for writing. And methods of in the writing process we are using is write method. So write either byte or character based data, and you must use, after writing, a flush method you have to use to flush out the stream. The old stream has to flush out to get the new stream data. That's why you have to use a flush method. And new line method. So cursor will move to the next line. So we want to write the data in the next line, you can use a new line method. These are the methods we're going to use in the writing process. Okay? So that's the complete file handling picture in one diagram. You can see here how we are using file process. So you have to create object for a file input stream, and first you create object for a file class. You have to represent the file, right? That's why file class, file f equal to new file, and the file location you give. So you are telling, okay, this is the file in this location. Now create object for file input stream class. File input stream fs equal to new file input stream, and pass this file object as a parameter you pass for the, this is the parameterized constructor. You can see all these are parameterized constructors you are using here. Parameterized constructor we are using here. Buffered input stream, how to use buffered input stream. First you should have these 2 objects, then only you can use a buffered input stream. BAS equal to new buffered input stream. For this buffer input stream you have to pass file input stream object reference. That's why you cannot use alone buffered input stream. So mandatory file input stream object must be created, and then file reader and buffer reader. So this is the read method, read line method, next line method we are using. So let me explain in detail about this file reader. So while working with the files, we need to handle the checked exceptions in our code. Remember, again exceptions are coming here one more time. Without exceptions, JDBC and file handling is not possible at all. And you have to handle checked exceptions. Otherwise, our code will not compile here. A file reader class makes it possible to read the contents of a file as a stream of characters. One by one character it will read from the file. So thus we are using in our code to read characters from a text file. So that I'll show you. So file reader fr equal to new file reader, and pass the file path or file object, file class object you can pass for this constructor. And buffer reader class provides a buffering to our reader with, rather than reading one character at a time from the file, we can read large block of a data at a time using buffer reader. So how to use this file reader and buffer reader? Create object for file reader fr equal to new file reader of file path, from which file you are reading. So that specify that file path here. And buffer reader text reader equal to new buffer reader, and pass the file reader object here for this constructor, buffer reader constructor you are calling here. And we can specify the buffer size, how much you want to read. So default 8192 characters will be there, and in case we want size more or particular size, you can specify like this: int buffer size equal to 1000, and buffer reader text reader equal to new buffer reader, and you pass file reader object and buffering size. This is the 2 parameterized constructor we are calling here. Single parameterized constructor we are calling here, but here 2 parameterized constructor we are calling here in this object. So each object, the constructor plays a major role here in each class, whatever you are using. So the read line method you are going to use when you call the buffer reader, a method of buffer reader class which reads a line of text, entire line it will read. So how do you know it is end of line? So there is a carriage return or end of line feed /n will be there, right? That it will understand and it will go to next line automatically. So that's how, so this reading process will happen. Anyhow, we are writing programs, we'll see that. Any questions before going for the writing process?
No, sir.
Basically, I'm using a object creation and constructor only. These two I'm using and then calling the methods. Why you need to create object? There are non-static methods. I need to use them. If you want to use the non-static methods, I have to create object. And these classes are having a parameterized constructors. Mandatory. You need to tell which file you want to read. If you're not telling from where it has to read. That's why these constructors we are using. And now writing process. To write the data, we're using file output stream. So byte-based data you want to write, you're outputting to the file. That's why you're using a file output stream. So file output stream FOS equal to new file output stream and give the file location to which file you want to write. The file location you give. So input file is different, output file is different. So which file you want to write, that file location you specify for file output stream constructor. So then if you want to write very fast, and you can use a buffered output stream, BOS equal to new buffered output stream FOS. So this FOS object you are passing. Then you call the BOS dot write method you can call. So this write method you can write any character based or byte based data. Then you call flush method immediately. Then if you want to go to new line, you call new line method. So you want to write a character based data, then you can use file writer class, makes it possible to write a file as a stream of characters. One by one character it will write. So this is how to use this file writer class. File writer object you create, file writer FW equal to new file writer, and specify the file path, which file you want to write, that file you specify here. And in case we want to control whether to append or overwrite into your text file, so you are writing data, okay, you want to override or you want to append. So based on that, it is going to write data to the file. So boolean append equal to true if you put the variable for file writer class, so it will append data to the file. File writer FW equal to new file writer, file path you specify, then also you tell, okay, I want to append that data in this file, I don't want to overwrite. Overwrite means what? Old data will go away, always new data will be there. That's we don't want, right? We want a old data also. If you want, do this 2 lines of code, or you can directly write in place of this append variable, you can write here true directly. So boolean value you have to pass for this constructor, So here see, file writer has a three constructors, default to, and one single parameter with the 2 parameters also you have constructors. So we're using which constructor you want to use, it's up to you. If you use this constructor, it will override the data. If you use this constructor, this will append the data. That's the difference. So every constructor task is different, right? Every constructor will do different task. So that's what I'm doing here, how to overwrite this process. If you want to append, use this process. So by default it is a false. The append is by default here false only, you don't need to specify. This is a false means append, you don't append. That's what the meaning you are telling here. So you overwrite, you are telling here, but here you are explicitly telling, okay, don't overwrite, append it. For old data you append the new data. So append the new data means old data after it will start writing, so one by one line. That's the append concept, how to append the data into the files. So buffer writer class provides a buffering to our writer rather than write one character at a time. So to the file we write a large block at a time. This is a typically much faster, especially for a disk access and larger data amounts, and this buffer writer you are going to use. See how to use of both file writer and buffer writer. You cannot use alone buffer writer. Any buffering class you cannot use alone, so that our above one more class is there, that class you have to use. File writer FW equal to new file writer, path of the file, and buffer writer BW equal to new buffer writer FW you can use. So this is the how you are going to use them, and then call BW dot write method, then bw.flush method, and bw.new line method. You can call it, will go to next line. One by one line it will write. So this is the concepts. So we'll practice them, then you will get a better idea. So let's go and practice. Before going to the programs, any questions? So let's get right. How to read the data from the file. First you should have a data, right? If you want to write, you should have a data. I'll create a file. Go to any thing. So I'll take this data. Okay, let me take this data. I'll take this data. I'll create a new file. Some data we are keeping in the file. Okay, now save it. Save in some location, right? Save this in some location, and I'll go to D drive. Java programs are there. Here I'll create a new folder, file handling. So March 25th, 2021. Okay, so here you just kept input.txt, or just input you put. It's already txt file. Just put input and click on, so save it. So that path we need, right? That's the first step you have to do. First you should have a data in the file if you want to read. Now I'm going to create a class, file input stream. I'll show you first. I'm going to use a first file input stream demo. So program package name, you give file handling programs. So that's my package name, and I'm going to give here file input stream demo. So don't give file input stream. File input stream is already available. You give a new class. Always you have to give your new. And I'm going to show you here how to make your object global. So that's why I'm just not necessary, but I'm just using here how to make object global. So first I'll make in this static method. If I want to use, my variable should be a static variable. Private static file input stream is the data type. So class also data type, right? Will you accept? And fs equal to null. And so why it is throwing error? We are using in our package, but this is available in which package? File input stream. Which package file input stream class is available?
IO package.
IO package.
So java.io package. So import that. Java.io package, you import it. Same, I need a file class. So private static file f equal to null. So I declared a global variable, global static variable, so that I can use anywhere. See that? It's an import you are using. Then I need to specify the file path. Private static. Always file you represent as a string. String file input path, right? File input path. File input path. Okay. So file input, you give the file path. So go to the location where that file is created, and that file you take it. So let's go to D drive, and here you have Java programs. In the Java programs, file handling March 25. This is my file location. So copy this location, and you have now only input.txt. You have to give that input.txt. Complete file path you have to give. From this file you are reading to your programs. So first thing, so create object for file. Create object for file class. So you already declared again a file. So I will take only this value variable, and I'll assign a value to this f. Initially now f value is a null, but I will assign a value to that f now. F equal to new file, and give this file path. So just pass the variable. Don't use entire path. It will become very big. So that's why you store in some variable. That variable you call here. So now this is a file. Now see that how I assign this object value. I am passing to global variable. This is how to pass to the global variable. I didn't use again data type here. I already declared data type here. Class data type for a file. So that's how to pass the object value to global variables. So that f you can use anywhere. That's how to make the global variables. Now I'll create object for file input stream class. Now FIS only you have to use. Already you declared here. File input stream FIS you already declared. Now it is a global variable. FIS equal to new file input stream, and the file F you have to pass. This file reference variable you have to pass here. See file object. Now see it is throwing an exception here. Compile time exception. What we call compile time exception? So checked exception it is throwing. So it is asking. So unhandled exception type, file not found exception. This is the checked exceptions, right? And I will surround with the try catch block, or you can add throws declaration. It's up to you, anything. So I'll surround with the try catch block. This line is throwing an exception. So I'll surround with the try catch block. See this line I surrounded with a try catch block. So what kind of exception? File not found exception. When you pass the file path, if this file is not there, and how do you know? So that's why it is asking handle this exception. In this line might throw an exception. That's why you handle that with a try catch block. Okay. Now, so I want to read the data from this file. So int I equal to 0 initially, while so entire data I need to read, right? One by one data you will get with the file input stream. So entire data, all the data byte data, if you want to read, what I need to do? I have to use a loop. So I'm using loop. One by one byte I will read. I equal to FIS dot read method. See the read method is there, byte based data. Read method is not equal to -1. So -1 means the last line. So until the last line. So until the last line, I'll put this thing, entire thing in the one I variable I'm storing. Every time from this file I'm reading and storing in the I variable. So until how long you need to read, and this -1 is there. The -1 means last line, no characters and no bytes at all. Until that you read, I'm saying. So until the file has to read, if there is no -1 means no byte data. So that's all. Now see here it is asking one more checked exception. So add throws declaration. This time I will use a throws declaration. Throws declaration. See this IO exception is throwing. I'm going to handle IO exception here. Otherwise it will ask you one more time try catch block, but I'm not using. I'm using this time throws declaration. Already we used a try catch block here. So you can use throws declaration here. So these all checked exceptions. Throws IO exception class name. And here, and I value, now I has a byte data. I can print that. So byte data directly you cannot print, right? What you need to do, you have to convert into character. So I'll convert into character. How can you convert into character? How can you convert into character? So byte into character. What you need to do? How can you convert a byte into character?
Typecasting.
Typecasting. Why are you struggling? So integer, right? This is the integer, 32-bit, and you're converting into character. That character you can print. So one by one character I'm printing. That's it. So I'm printing here. I got the each character I can use in my program here. That I'm printing here. That I'm printing in my console. Now I can use a finally block also. See that. Finally block also. Entire try catch blocks you are using, throws keyword you are going to use multiple times in the programs, and then finally block. Finally block is, so I can close the file, right? FIS dot close. So I created here, if something goes wrong here, it will fail. That's why I'm closing the files. So that's what I told you. Finally block is used to close the file streams. So it is closing the file stream, and you can execute the code now. See that all the data will read here. This is the data we kept, right? This is the data we kept in the file. Same data is reading. So no such file. This is all. So in the program we have written this, and this the data it is reading from the file. This file. From this file we are reading the data. See, you got the data. So that data only you printed here. That data only you printed here. Okay, any questions? So for reading the data from file to program, is it clear or any doubt here?
రమేష్ గారు మీరు ఇక్కడ ఫైల్ ని కాపీ చేసి తీసుకుంటున్నారు కదా, అలా ర్యాండమ్ గా కూడా ఇవ్వచ్చా?
Random means what? Which one random?
ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇక్కడ ఫైల్ ని ముందు దాన్ని కాపీ చేసుకొని ఒక దాంట్లో స్టోర్ చేసి దాన్ని మీరు మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ కాల్ చేస్తున్నారు కదా.
Yes, yes. Okay.
అట్లా కాకుండా ర్యాండమ్ గా మీరు దాన్ని డిక్లేర్ చేసి ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయొచ్చా?
Random means which you are
అంటే
specifying
ఇప్పుడు
file.
అక్కడ ఉన్నది లేనిది మనకు తెలియదు, బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఉంది అనుకొని మనం టైప్ చేసి దాన్ని తీయొచ్చా?
This file, whether it is there or not, you want to check.
Yeah.
So you have a file class object, so you can check here. You put a if condition. If file exists, so you can ask to do all these things. So till here, if file exists only, you do this. You can tell that exist method is there in the file class. If it exists, this code will execute. If not exist, so it will throw an exception. That you can tell that. Let's have file exist or not, you can check here. Otherwise leave it. So not necessary, all these things. So file exist or not, you can check it. If file exists only, you execute this code. Otherwise you throw exception, you can ask. So I'll remove this. If file exists only, you can do that. If file doesn't exist, and you don't need to do. So okay, where is this one, and this one is going here. So I have to put here, otherwise I'll keep it here. Okay. Number of this is the while loop, and this is the catch block. Okay, so done. And this is the how you can check whether the file is there or not with exist method. Already these are ready-made methods in the file. Okay, any other questions? This all we are using object creation, and then see that I'm calling fas.read method. This object reference I'm calling directly in the while loop. While loop we are using. So while loop tells you if the condition is this condition is true only, it will come here. Otherwise it won't come. The last line it won't come, it become false and it is not going to execute. That's our while loop. Next, buffered input stream. I'll just copy this and I'm going to use buffered input stream. So buffering concept, buffered input stream, buffered input stream, buffered input stream demo. So create a new class that is buffered input stream. So for that, what I need extra, a buffered class I need, private static. So buffered input stream. So BS object I'm declaring globally. Now see that you have to import this buffered input stream class. You have to import. So it will ask you to import it. So imported. Now everything same, only one thing you have to do is BAS. You create a BAS object, new buffered input stream. So buffered input stream is FAS you have to pass for the buffered input stream. But your data has come to this BAS. So you have to read from BAS, not from FAS. So BAS, you read from BAS. So that's the how you can. So I'll beautify this. So how can we beautify? Source, format it, Control-Shift-F. It will format properly. Okay, so this is all the buffered input stream change, nothing extra. And this also reads very fast, so data will read. See that? So but you can observe only if there is a large data, you can observe the difference between file input stream and buffered input stream. So basically it reads very fast than file input stream. File input stream 1 by 1 byte it will read, but buffered input stream at large chunk of bytes it will read at a time. So that's the one thing. And next, file reader. So file reader class. So file reader class, file reader demo. So I should not use file reader. Maybe I'll use file reader and buffer reader at a time. So it will finish one shot. This from this file, I have to read the data. I'll declare global variables. So here file reader you use. Instead of file input stream, use file reader. So fr I will use, fr object, and buffer reader object. So buffer reader, if you use, it will read a large chunk of data. Buffer reader br. So import these two. So instead of importing one by one, is there a way to do all at a time? Yes. So what you can do, instead of importing one by one, entire package you specify. So I don't want to specify one by one star, so that you don't need to import one by one. This is the java.io.star. So all the classes of this IO package I can use if you do that io.star. Now, so I need to read. First, you create object for file class. Create object for file class. So f equal to new file and pass this file input path, and you can specify that, and then create object for file reader class. So fr equal to new file reader. So this file reader you have to pass file object and which file you are reading. So this is asking for try catch block. I'll do surround with a try catch block. It will be a practice for you. Again, exception handling is coming here. You can practice that. And so again, we have to create br object. Br equal to new buffered reader class. And this buffer reader you have to pass fr, and you can use this. Then new buffer reader, and you can pass now. You can read the buffer reader. If you use, what will happen? Entire line will read. Entire line means it's a string. So a string str. You can read entire lines. So str equal to bs dot read line method. You can use for br, right? Br dot read line method you can use. There is a read line method. Can you see this? Read line method you can use. Enter line you're. So string is object, right? So that's why you have to use null. So null until that is not null. Last line is not null. String value is not null in this file, and you keep on reading. I'm saying. So that's the. So it is asking again. Add throws declaration. So IO exception you need to add. So this line br dot read line is throwing IO exception. So you declare the IO exception. So then print the directly the entire string you read str. So I'm reading directly from the file. I'm storing in the str variable, and that str variable I'm printing, because this is directly you're getting, right? The entire line you're getting. So then you can use finally block. So br dot close method you can use, and b fr also if you want you can close. Fr dot close also you can use if you want. So you are closing both of them after executing this entire line of code. So this is the how you can read the data from files. So that's a very fast. It will read your data to the program. So you are reading here and you are storing in a str variable. If you want this data, you can use anywhere in your program. But reading process is this is the one, and you have to specify the file, which file you want to read, that you have to specify. So that's how to read the data from file to a program, and that's a reading process. And next one is how to write the data to the files. So I have a data in my file. How can I write to another file? So I'll take this file input stream class, and same, because we have data in this input.txt, and this data I want to write to the output.txt. How can you write? So let's take this same. I'll copy this, and I'll create a file output stream. File output stream. In place of file input, I'm putting file output stream. So output stream demo, file output stream demo. I'm I'm explaining about file output stream. So go to the file output stream, and here I need extra file output stream class. So why I am taking file input stream again here? I want to read, then I will write to another file. From this file I'm reading, that's why I need a file input stream. So I want to write it now to another file. So for that I need a file output stream. So this scenario is you are reading from one file and writing the same data to another file. That's what we are doing here, the scenario. So here this also I'll do star, so that I don't need to specify one by one. Okay, all of them at a time you can specify. For this I need a file. I need to create a file output thing I need to create. I'll create a file output file I'll create. So that file we are writing file output path. So this is the output.txt. So this input file data I'm writing to output file. So how to do that? First, for this you have to create this file. You need to create this file. This file is not there. You go and see that file is not there, right? So only input file we have. We don't have output file. We have to create that file. So how to create a file? So you can use a file class. If file is exist, this file now not input file, so output file. I'm creating output file. If file exists, then you create a new file. So what I'm doing, create a new file. Which file? Output file I'm creating. F dot create new file. So can you see here, create new file? It will create a new file. On the fly you're creating the file also. Okay, if file doesn't exist, I'm saying file doesn't exist, I'll tell. If file exists, you don't need to create, right? If file doesn't exist, that's why negation I kept. Then you create a new file. Which file it will create? This file. Whatever the file you are representing here, that file it will create. Now I need to give file input path for my file input stream. So I'll specify here. So this path I need to specify. Now I'll create object for FOS object also. New file output stream for writing. Why you will use this? F dot get absolute path. Get absolute path. The entire file I am specifying which file you are writing. So file input stream will specify the input file path. File output stream will specify the output file path. Output file path it is specifying. Now you are reading first. Okay, you are reading here, and then I'm going to write it here. So I'm going to write FOS dot write method. FOS dot write method. So I can write directly I. So I don't want to convert into again character. I can write it to the files. Directly I can write to the files. So this is the how to write data to the file. So reading from this file. So this is the reading. So read method you called and you read and storing. And every I am writing same I byte data I'm writing to FOS file. So then I'm printing that. So this it will keep going the how to write the data. If you don't want to print, you don't want, leave it. But I'm printing. So whatever the data I read, I'm printing. Otherwise, you don't need to print here. So you need to write. Our main objective is writing. So this is the writing process. So which file you are writing? Output file we are writing. Writing to the output file. So output file object which is referring FOS object. FOS dot write method. And what data you want to write? This byte data you need to write. File output stream will write the byte data, right? So that's why you're passing byte data directly to the write method. So this is the how to write the data using file output stream. So run this. So done. So it printed. Now you go there and see file output file is there. See that output file is there. You open, same data is there or not, you can check it. See that same data is available here also. Input file and output file has the same data, right? So that's the how to write data. Is it clear?
Ramesh, yeah.
Okay. So now I will use a buffered output stream. So instead of a file output stream, buffered output stream I'll use. So how to use a buffered output stream? If you want to use a buffered output stream, so I just need extra file input stream also, you have to use a buffered output stream. And so again, if you want to read from this file and you want to write to some other file, and I'll do that. Let me show you buffering concept I'll use here. So copy this buffered output stream class. So buffered output stream I'm using. So both buffering, I'm reading from file, same data I'll write it to the file. Buffered output stream demo. Just buffered output stream demo. So for buffering means, so what are all the classes we need? I need a file input stream, buffered input stream. So let's create a one more file object, static buffered input stream. First, for buffering, you have to read buffered input stream. So BAS equal to null. So then I need to do buffered output stream also. I'm writing a large chunk of data at a time. So I will use buffered output stream POS you can use. That's a null you can use. Okay. And so this is how you can use. And now again, same procedure. So what you will do, you create a file if file doesn't exist. So I'll do here doc file. Instead of this txt, I'll use a doc file. Okay. Doc file I'll create. I'll write it to doc file. I'll write it to doc file. So I'm creating a new file now, output.doc. So ms output.doc. So I'm creating that file on the fly here. If that file doesn't exist only, it will create. And that's why I'm using exist method. I'm checking. Okay, if file doesn't exist, then it will go to if condition inside, it will create. Okay, now, so I'm reading with the file input stream, input file I'm reading, and BAS I need new buffered input stream, and FIS object I need to pass. Again, same BOS equal to new buffered outputs. So basically I'm creating objects for all the buffering classes also. You have to pass FOS. So by buffered input stream, you have to pass FIS object. For a buffered output stream, you have to pass FOS object. That's what I passed here. Now first you read, right? You read. Okay, you're reading. So enter. Maybe you can directly use a read line method, right? You can use a read line, enter. So a string buffered. Okay, you can use BAS, you need to read. BAS dot read method, it will read large chunk of data here and it kept here. And then, so I'm going to use BOS dot write, because you're writing to buffering and it will write to the file that and you have to use, so BOS dot flush method you have to call. If you're not calling flush method, it doesn't read, doesn't write. So write process is a very, very important. Then after writing every line, I have to go to new line. I'll go to new line. So BOS dot, I'll go to next line. Next line is not there. Okay, fine. So anyhow, that's how we'll write with the flush method. Now you can see that. Now we can close all these things. So BAS dot close, and so FOS dot close, and then BOS dot close. So all these streams you are closing in the finally block. So let's run this program so that it will create, okay, read properly. Now whether it has a write and created a output file or not, let's see. That's MS output. See that this is the data, right? You can write to Word doc also. Okay, so any file, it doesn't matter. So you want to write, use that respective classes and call that methods. So that's the how to write the data to the file. And last program, so with this, okay, I don't want to write from file to program. I will input the data. That data you write it to a file. And how to write that data to the file. So let's use file writer demo. I'll show you. Write data to file using input from user. So you're inputting from user. So you're inputting the data from keyboard. From keyboard you're inputting. So that's what I'm doing here. For this, so I need few classes: private, static, file writer. So fw equal to null. So then I need private, static, buffered writer. So bw equal to null. So these are the two classes I need, and I'll just do import java.io.star. So you don't need to do each one by one, right? So that's the one thing. Okay. Now I need a private static file class f equal to null. So then I need to write which file you want to write. So I'll give private static string file path. So which file we are writing, that file path I'm giving. So let's take this file path. So I want, so here I need to write, here I'll specify the file. So you can say file path is which file path you want to specify. And I will write data.txt. So this is the one I'm going to write to this file. Write data.txt file I'm writing. So if you want to write, what we need to do, you want to input from the keyboard, what you need to do? But inputting the data from keyboard, how is it possible?
Scanner class.
Super. Scanner class we have used. So first create object for scanner class. So scanner sc equal to new scanner, and you pass system.in. That's it. So import this scanner class is available in java.util package. After that, you do all the file object creation and then create a file, all those stuff you can do that. So first create, maybe you can ask here, right? You can store the data. You can ask. So please enter the data you want to write. So you're asking, then you can store string str equal to sc dot next line method is there. There is a next line method. So you can take a next line method. This one, you can take this. So this method will string data it reads and it stores here. Now you have data ready. Now you create object for file class. Which file you want to write, you decide now. Equal to new file. So for this file I need to write. So for this file you need to write, I'm specifying that file. Now I'll check if file doesn't exist. If file doesn't exist, exist method is there. If doesn't exist, you create that file. F dot create new file. Create new file. If it doesn't exist only, it will create. That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, don't create, I'm saying. So add throws declaration. So I have an exception, it is throwing. Then if you declare, you don't need to again declare try catch blocks. That's advantage here. And you create a file writer object. Create file writer object. So fw equal to new file writer. So for this, you need to pass f dot get absolute path. Get absolute path, the path of the file you are getting. So create object for bw. Bw equal to new buffered writer, and fw you need to pass here. Okay, so that's how you can pass. Now I want to write, right? I want to write to this file. So what you can do, bw dot write. So write the string. So string of data you need to write str. You do str data, you write. Then bw dot new line. You go to new line and bw dot flush. You flush the thing. So this is the how to write the data to the file. Writing to the file. So write method, just a write method you are calling, and this data. So whatever the data you inputted, it will store here. That data you are writing. Okay, let's run this. So it will ask you, say still program is running until you input, it will keep doing that. So I am learning file handling concepts. So this entire line has to write. So you go there and see the open the file. So write data. This is the file, right? See that this data is written. Whatever the data you have given, it is written. Okay, let's run again one more time. I'll write a different data. Run again. So it will ask you, please enter data. So Java is very simple programming language. So you press enter key. See, it's still running. It is waiting for your action. Press enter key. So this is done. Writing is done. Program execution is done. Now you open this file. Again, see, old data is not there. Only new data is there. But I want old data, new data. How can I do that? Whatever the data you have given, that entire line is reading, writing. But how can I append my data? So let me show you how to append. Now we are overwriting, right? Now we are overwriting every time. So now we are overwriting. So what I can do here, just in the file writer class, just append true. That's it. Now it will append the data. So now I'm using a two parameterized constructor I'm using for file writer. Before I used, if you want both, I'll keep both. This I'll comment. I'll write. So I'll write very clearly. So below line file writer object, file writer constructor will override the data. So I'll write here, I'll comment out this. Okay, let's comment out this. We don't want that now. Below line file writer constructor will append the data. So both I'm giving will append the data. So are you clear now? If you use a single parameterized constructor, only you're specifying the file path, that will overwrite. If you use a two parameterized constructor, will append the data. See that? Now execute this. This is how to append. They will ask you all these things. So learning automation testing to improve my test coverage, right? So go and see now what is there. See that old data is there and new data is also there. And you run n number of times. It keep on appending. It's going to keep on appending. That's it every time. See that? And it will append. All right. Selenium is a functional test tool. Functional test tool which automates the regression system end-to-end test cases. So all this is going to append now the data. You can go see, open again. It will say that it appended the data. So this all this is going to append. That's how to append the simple logic. So just add a true keyword in the file writer class. That will append the data. So that's all the file handling. The last one class, one program is a very, very important. Where you will use this program that I am explaining here is, suppose you downloaded a file, you want to check the file exists in the particular directory or not. How can you check that? And if it is there, you just assert it or you verify that. How can you do that? First of all, how can you list the files and subfolders in a particular directory? So that's the program I'm going to show you. Last program in the files, and this is very important. In the interviews they asked in the Selenium, okay, you downloaded. How do you know that downloaded file is available in a particular directory? So the question, for that question, the answer is, this is the code. So list files demo. So I'm taking main method, and this is the program I'm writing, one reusable method I'm writing. You can use anywhere, it doesn't matter. So private static, so void list files, but here you have to give string directory. You give the directory for this method, and that will list all the files and subfolders in this directory. So what are all the files available in this directory? It will list out for us, and I can filter out also however you want. First, for this you have to create object for file class. Create object for file class. So file f equal to new file. So you specify the directory path. So you're passing the directory, okay? So in this directory it will find out, and there is a method you can list out all these files into an array. So how to fetch? So fetch all the files and subdirectories in the given directory. A directory or folder, right? Folder. So now, so there is a method list array, it returns. So files array, file array. So, or you can just see, how can I check this? There is a get list files, I think. Yeah, list files method. Can you see here, list files method? It returns a file array, it returns. The return type method, this one, file array, it returns. So I do return type is file array, f array equal to. So the return type method, all the files will store here. Now, how can you iterate this? Using for each loop. So the data type of array is a file. So fa colon and f array, just give array name. So now every file is represented by fa. So you can get that file name. How can you get the file name? So file name is, so there is a method, ready-made method, fa dot get name method. You see a lot of methods here. Get name, get usable space, get parent file of this file, get canonical path, get path, get absolute path. So there are a lot of get free space, get absolute file. So many methods available. You can use whichever the method you want. Get name method I'm calling. So it will give all the things. So just call this method, and I'll declare string f path equal to the file path. I'll give this file path. I'll give. So till Java programs I'll give. I will go one level back. Till Java programs I'll give. So here, how many in this directory? How many files and subfolders are there? All it will list out. So call this method in the main method and give that. So the f path view, the file path. So change path to static. See that it's a non-static variable we declared. So it doesn't allow non-static, right? In the static methods, it's all variable concept. And run the program. So this all of them is listing out. See that txt files are there, daily-wise Java nodes, file handling. This is the folder names. All these are folder names. Otherwise, I'll remove this. This readable statement I'll remove so that it will show you directly. See that you have a txt files, you have a Java files, you have JPEG files, so many, and you have folders also. You have, these are all folders. So what are all folders are there given directory, it will list out for you. Or suppose I want only txt file, the file ending with a txt file, I want them, or I want a files that are ending with a .jpg. How can you filter this? If you want to filter, which concept do we need to use?
If, sir.
if condition. So fa dot ends with fa dot get name. Sorry, fa dot get name ends with. So you just put a prefix dot txt. Only print that files, and you can say that. You are saying, okay, which file is ending with .txt? Only that file you print. I'm saying that's how I'm printing here. So only txt files will print now. See that? Only txt files. Suppose you want only JPG files. Only JPG files will print. This is the filtering you can do with if condition inside the for loop. See that only JPG files. Clear? This is the how to filter your files with if condition. So get name method will get the name of that file, and this is a string. This ends with the method is a string method, string class method. See that java.lang string ends with string suffix you give. So ends with is a method which checks whether that string is ending with the dot, whatever the suffix you have given, is it ending or not. That's what the ends with the method, starts with the method is there. Next class, that's what we are going to discuss. So tomorrow's class, we are discussing string handling completely. Okay. So that's all about file handling. Any questions?